Colin can't make it today. His wife's got an appointment.
Oh
dear. So let's get cracking with John and the news of the group.
We're talking to Dave Evans yesterday, little Dave, and he was getting excited because he's looked in Santa's sack and he thinks he's getting a new phone for Christmas. He might be sadly mistaken, it might be 2 tin cans and a piece of string, but he thinks he's getting a phone. So he might, with your help, Keith, he might be able to join us in January.
Hey, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah, if you can be his technical expert.
Yeah, no problem.
We'll see. I was talking to Sue, Stuart's wife, just before the meeting started. She's 75 today. I couldn't make my mind up whether it was yesterday or today, but it's today. She's 75. Unfortunately, 2 sons she's in regular contact with, one's at work and the other has got a virus. Not COVID, but he and the family have got a bad virus, so she's not able to see either of them, which is a pity, but she's very grateful for those of you who sent her cards. We're really happy about that. As was Ed. I was talking to Ed earlier, and when he stopped chatting the nurses up, the care staff, he was grateful for the cards he got, but he couldn't find the cans of beer I'd sent to him, I'd delivered to him. So I suspect 1 or 2 of the care staff were tipsy. Brian the Tyson's best wishes, Christmas wishes, season's greetings, as does Richard, who was off to the osteopath yesterday. He'd got a bad back. He'd been playing in golf for Wednesday and he got a bad back. Yeah, Colin sends his best wishes as well, and so does Eric, who's looking after his wife's back with the help of his family, because she's going through a bad time at the moment with her, although she's refused chemo, but she's getting other treatment. So that's about it for the roundup, lads.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Has Jenny been busy, John?
Has she been busy? Don't interrupt her now. She's ironing now. Yeah, she's made a few. Yeah, she's been visiting her mum. Her mum's just been admitted to a hospice, unfortunately. So I've been visiting her regularly. A bit traumatic, but she's still found time to bake. I've made her stay up all night and bake.
Right. I have to say, some of the headgear's pretty good. Doug's presents come early, but it looks of it.
I made that myself.
That's brilliant.
Like a Blue Peter, that.
Where's your Blue Peter badge?
Sorry, I couldn't find a blue one. I thought it was both.
Dave's gone, Bertie's dad's gone silly.
Bertie's trying to pinch me mince pie.
How old is he now, Dave?
He's 19 weeks.
Still piddling?
No, outside, yeah. Lovely. Tries to go out now.
Good.
Brilliant.
Good.
Conservatory finished, Dave.
Yes, just finished it.
He's better trained than John then.
Yeah, definitely. Our cat's been to vet this morning. Our cat took Jenny to vet this morning. 37 quid it cost me. 37 quid.
I'm in Happy Pets Club.
Yeah, she's in Happy Pets Club. Everything was supposed to be free, but he's been having a scrap with a badger or something. He's got a really bad gouge in his face. So he needs antibiotics.
And I've the only advice how to get that on.
And yeah, trying to get, I can't get it around my neck.
Be honest.
Gratefully received.
Be honest, John. The vets are always happy to see you, aren't they?
Oh, dead right.
No.
Yeah. Just when you think you've got everything covered, they find something else.
I always thought they were called ka-ching.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's clever, John. You do it again. You never see your lips move at all.
Right. We'll move on now to Lowell's News of the Week.
News of the week. Lowell's News of the week.
Let's see what we've got for you today. We'll start with cricket. Now, India collapsed to 36 all out. the lowest ever score in Test cricket, as Australia won the first Test in Adelaide by 8 wickets to go 1-0 up in the series. It is the lowest Test total since New Zealand were bowled out for 26 in 1955. Wicket takers were Josh Hazlewood with 5 for 8 and Pat Cummins 4 for 21. Now going back to New Zealand's lowest total for 26 in 1955, does anybody know who it was against and where it was taking place?
West Indies.
No.
England.
England were involved.
The Aussies.
No, England. It was against England.
It must have been in New Zealand.
It was in New Zealand, in Auckland.
Was
The
it a
second
cup
Test.
match?
Auckland.
In the first innings, New Zealand got 200, and then the second innings, all out for 26. With Frank Tyson getting 2, Brian Statham 3, Johnny Wardle 1, and Bob Appleyard 4 wickets.
Yeah.
In case you're interested.
Good Lancashire.
Can I interrupt, please, here? Can I interrupt and say I have played in a match where the opposition got 10.
And you bowled them all out.
No, I'm not saying that. I played in the match and they got 10, but they took 20 overs to achieve that.
Yeah.
And it was the lowest score in the Bassetlaw League for about 25, 30 years.
Were it, Chris? Who did you play?
It was a little village called Weston near Markham Moor on the A1. Yeah. And it was the first match of the season, and I don't think they'd picked a bat up since the previous year. They were what you call rusty.
Yeah.
I just throw that in as a completely irrelevant fact.
In our under-16s final at school, our team, Wentworth, were all out for 36 in 20 overs. And we got the opposition out for 35.
Good game.
Did that make Sky News?
It would have done in its day.
Aye.
Come on then.
What?
See,
Yeah.
with that India innings, Kohli said he hadn't seen batting like that since he played in the under-12s.
A little bit more on cricket. Now,
You're obsessed.
South Africa legend Jack Callis will join England as batting consultant for their tour of Sri Lanka in January. The 45-year-old is the third on the all-time list of Test run scorers with 13,289 runs. He also took 292 wickets. Callis has also coached Kolkata in the Knight Riders in the Indian Premier League and worked with the South African team. Any thoughts about why we need him for batting?
Suppose because of the pitches he's used to, is it?
Yeah.
What's the difference between a coach and a consultant?
Money.
Money.
Good
That's a good
question.
answer. That's a good answer. Length of contract and money. Yeah. He was probably the best player. Some would argue he could have probably taken title to the best player ever. He was extraordinary, Jack Callis. Extraordinary player.
Yeah.
Extraordinary player.
Right, on to snooker. Now, Judd Trump thrashed 6 times world champion Ronnie O'Sullivan 6-1 to reach the World Grand Prix final. In one frame, O'Sullivan played on despite needing 17 snookers. In the other semi-final, Jack Lasowski beat Mark Selby 6-4. And the final was won 10-7 by Trump to win the £100,000 first prize. So, a bit strange O'Sullivan, that wasn't it? Trying to carry on with 17 snookers required.
Not really. Not really.
You'd think there'd be some sort of regulations about that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
They might say that about United soon.
Yeah.
They need snookers.
We're in the transfer market for Steve Davis at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need snookers coming up soon. So.
little bit on Russia.
I thought we were after Trump, but it's wrong one.
False news.
Fake news.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want him playing for you, Keith. You'd be arguing about the score at the end of the game.
No, we'd never lose.
Well, you wouldn't really know. You'd be taking it to court all the time.
Recounting all the time.
Oh, dear.
The
Keith,
last
what have you got in your head?
season was long enough. I can imagine what that season would be like.
Yeah.
What have you got on your head, Keith?
It's like Rudolph.
It's easy for Muse to say.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
It's my girlfriend.
Oh, right. Thanks for calling me a con man, by the way, Keith.
Oh, have they misspelt it again? Oh, dear.
Oh, I think it's right as it is. The wing
Con. Very accurate.
Shut up, Hall.
Never said it
Eat
would.
your biscuit.
Never said
Carry
it
on,
would.
Lowell. Sorry.
Don't need to.
Right, little item about Russia. Now, Russia's 4-year ban from all major sporting events after a doping scandal has been cut to 2 years by the Court of Arbitration for Sport. The ban still prevents Russia from competing in the Tokyo Olympics and the Paralympics set to be held next year, and football's World Cup in Qatar the following year. Formula One. The Formula One's governing body has confirmed the calendar for the longest season in history next year. There will be 23 Grand Prix, starting in Australia on the 21st of March and ending in Abu Dhabi on the 6th of December. The British Grand Prix at Silverstone will be on the 18th of July. Any comments about?
Did anybody see that documentary about Sterling Moss?
Missed
No,
it.
That's been on this week.
Missed
I
it.
forgot it. I saw that it was on. Forgot to watch it.
I recorded it and watched it last night. Very interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, he was an icon when we were growing up, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And all
He
those
was.
dinky toys, all those dinky cars I had,
Yeah.
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 and Coopers and stuff like that. You
Yeah.
see them nowadays doing 100 mile an hour and how fragile they were compared to today's
Yeah.
cars.
John,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
dad had a Bugatti.
Did he?
Yeah, one of
Could
his
he get
first
cream
cars.
for it?
And his brother, his mad elder brother, Daft Jack, they called him.
Daft Jack.
Daft Jack nicked it from the house, drove it up
Yeah.
to the Lake District, rang up to say he'd run out of petrol.
Did you say the last one? Where's the last one of the season?
Abu Dhabi on 6th
Oh,
of
that's where they'll have the party then after that. Then
Abu
Yeah,
Dhabi.
You came out with that last week. Let's have some good ones,
sorry.
Keith.
Not again. Yeah, you did it last week, you plonker.
Abba dabba doo. Yeah.
Oh dear. Hey, do you know what I heard this week?
First
Those,
cuckoo.
those
You heard
three
this
wise men are from Yorkshire.
Aye.
It says in the Bible, the 3 wise men came from the East Riding on camels. Who?
Very good.
Yeah.
I missed his punchline thanks to you.
right, carry on, Lowell.
Right, go on to boxing. The promoter Eddie Hearn says Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury may consider dropping all 4 world title belts to ensure their potential fight goes ahead. The All-British Heavyweight Showdown would be the first fight in history in which all 4 heavyweight titles are on the line. Now, Tyson Fury, he stayed on the Sports Personality of the Year shortlist, despite his lawyers getting involved, writing to the BBC, asking them to have him removed from the show, but the BBC refused. Another bit of boxing. Saul Alvarez produced a near flawless display as he beat Callum Smith to take the British fighter's WBA World Super Middleweight title. The Mexican totally dominated the fight in Texas, in which Smith struggled to land a decent punch, and he won easily over 12 rounds with a unanimous decision on the judges' cards.
That's phenomenal, Lol, considering there was a height difference of nearly a foot.
Yeah.
True, wasn't it? The guy I lost was dwarfed the other chap, didn't he?
Yep,
he did.
So,
Well,
he was
Lol,
over the reach advantage.
No, the
why
guy
did Tyson Fury want to come off the shortlist?
Because last year he was taken off the short list.
Ah, right.
we talked about this last week.
This
if you
is
remember.
his musings about women, I think.
So we discussed this last week, but since then his lawyers got involved.
Yeah.
To no
Must have
effect.
seen our Zoom meeting.
It's
Yeah.
it's interesting though that they should kick him out one year and then bring him back in the next. If the reasons were valid for year one, then surely they'd be valid for year two.
Yeah.
I just find that strange.
Well, no, it isn't, Brian, because it's the BBC.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
yeah.
just going to say similar thing to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Inconsistent.
Mm.
Just behave yourself now.
Pardon?
What was that?
Dave, just be.
Were you there on Sunday, Glenn?
Somebody's going to tell me off. Might they show their face?
He's baking and he keeps jumping up.
Yeah.
Right, big old boy. Yeah.
Sorry, John, did you ask me if I
No,
was...
what I said, were you anywhere near the studios for the sports personality? Were they near you?
No, it was at Media City, but no, we weren't involved. We've been involved in a few at the big arenas in the past, but
yeah,
we've sort of moved away from that a little bit. It was okay, but it's not what it was. You know, when you talk about, you were talking about Sterling Moss there, but one of my abiding memories is when they used to have the likes of Graham Hill and Jackie Stewart.
Oh, yeah.
Some fun chat, and it was relaxed, and there was personalities. It's all very scripted now, and I think it's scripted. It's not natural.
No.
There are you can tell there are certain boxes to tick as they go along in terms of what they've got to say, who to be on, and it's for me, it's not what it was. I used to,
Couldn't agree with him more.
Well, when you're talking about Jackie Stewart,
I don't think they concentrate on sport enough.
When you
They concentrate too much on the vote and not enough on a review of the year's sport.
We haven't got any
Was I
film.
mistaken, or did they not mention Johnny Quinn and Jerry Young when they were talking about people who passed away this year?
Didn't mention them.
Didn't mention them, did they?
They didn't. Did they?
No.
Did they mention Albert Quicksall?
No.
No.
England player.
No, wrong side at Pennines.
Former England player.
Yeah.
As Chris says.
Well, so was Jerry Young.
Yeah.
But I just
Young, yeah.
I just came into the programme when they were remembering those that had passed this year, and they had that lady singing, and I don't know what song she was singing because she absolutely murdered it, didn't she?
She killed her. She were on the show last week singing it. I don't know if it were Graham Norton or whatever. No, it wasn't. She was on the show last week. Dreadful version.
Yeah.
But she has a
Horrible.
style of singing that's caught on amongst the younger generation. It's
horrible.
I would say it's affected.
Yeah.
But
go back to Jackie Stewart, if I may. Somebody mentioned Jackie Stewart. Now there's an intelligent man.
Mm.
If you ever wanted anybody round for dinner, I would have him round. One of the first. Gosh, he can tell a story as good as Chris Hall. That guy.
As long as he did wishing up.
But he doesn't take long.
Can he play cricket?
No, he's Scottish. Right. Just going back to the sports you thing, why wasn't Marcus Rashford nominated for the main award?
Because he got a
special award.
Got a
special award.
Yeah, I know he did, but he would have won. He would have won the normal award.
No, he wouldn't. He's not good enough sportsman. He plays for Manchester United. He has no chance. I mean, Liverpool got 2 goals for the silver.
No, hang on.
I think
personality. Sports personality.
Personality. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's very rarely had anything to
I
do with
think what he
personality, has
did
he?
was outside sport.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not sport. What he's done, and they did a really, all joking apart, Keith, they did a really good documentary on Marcus Rashford last night.
It is, yeah.
His mum,
Yeah, it's good.
absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, it was.
And the credits, they actually finish with a slide of the 4 things the government has done, or at least done at his instigation. Fabulous amount of money raised by his. That's nothing to do with sport. That's him being a sportsman, using his position.
Yeah, but if he wasn't a sportsman, it wouldn't have happened.
Correct. But that doesn't qualify him.
Yeah.
He's Sports Personality of the Year, which is
Well, it does to me. Yeah. Right, go on then, Lowell. We'll have to agree to differ on that, old boy.
Thank you for that.
Nip on to golf. The Tiger Woods and his 11-year-old son Charlie were 4 shots off the lead after the first round of a 2-day exhibition event in Florida last Saturday. The pair opened with a 10 under par 62 that left them in 6th place. Charlie eagled the par 5 third on his own, the only player on the day to do so in the scramble format. He is the youngest competitor in the tournament's 25-year history. Team Woods shot a 10 under 62 for the 2nd day in a row to finish 7th in the event, which was won by Team Thomas, in which Justin partnered his father. Team Singh came 2nd, where Vijay and his son finished 1 shot behind the winners. Keeping on.
That young Woods boy can strike a ball. It's a beautiful swing. Did you see it?
Part of it, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful swing. Like mine.
Keeping on golf, Lee Westwood has been named the 2020 European Tour Golfer of the Year. It is the 4th time the 47-year-old has won the award. He began the year with victory at the Abu Dhabi Championship in January and ended it by winning his 3rd race to Dubai after finishing runner-up to Matt Fitzpatrick in the DP World Tour Championship this month.
Bet you made up, Keith, aren't you? Abu Dhabi.
Worthy winner.
We're going back to Spotty.
Personality.
It came as no real surprise when Lewis Hamilton was announced as the winner of the BBC Sports Personality of the Year award at the ceremony in Manchester on Sunday. Liverpool captain Jordan Henderson came 2nd, with jockey Holly Doyle in 3rd place. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp won Coach of the Year, with his Liverpool team winning Team of the Year.
Don't need to say any more, do you, really, Lowell?
No, thought I'd put a smile on your face, Ian.
Yes.
Now we're nipping a bit onto football now. When I find it. Now we're nipping to Germany. Now, Borussia Dortmund's Yusufa Moukoko, aged 16 years and 28 days, became the youngest player to score a goal in the Bundesliga when his side lost 2-1 to Union Berlin. It beat the previous record set by Florian Wirtz, who scored for Bayern Leverkusen against Bayern Munich, aged 17 years, 34 days in May earlier this year. They'll be 12 and 13 years old soon, these footballers.
Yeah.
West Brom, they've sacked manager Slaven Bilic, along with all his coaching staff, after a poor start to the season. Bilic had only been in charge 18 months and got the team promoted to the Premier League in his first full season in charge. Sam Allardyce, who has been out of management for 2.5 years since leaving Everton, was announced as his replacement the same day. Think you don't like him?
You having a fit, Keith?
I think he is.
Boo!
It's withdrawal from those tablets he was having last week, John.
Let's hope West Brom go down.
For that alone.
They
For
will.
doing that
They
alone.
will.
Yeah.
They will.
I think Liverpool have got them next.
that he found out on social media that he'd lost his job.
Disgusting.
It's absolutely disgraceful. No other industry would be allowed to get away with these things.
Was it on the coach going home that he found out?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think I saw somewhere it was on the coach.
Yeah, that's what I read.
He was not given due respect as a manager who'd done very well for his club. Dreadful.
No.
And then they've appointed a...
I bet he got the job
We're
that
recording,
morning.
so I'm not going to say what I think. I'm recording. We're recording.
But he'll be back as a pundit, and I always liked his punditry.
Yeah.
What he's said apparently is that his next job he wants to be much more secure, so he's going to apply at Watford.
Which brings me round to my next topic. Watford have also sacked their head coach, Vladimir Ivic, after only 4 months in the job. The Hornets, who have won 9 of their 20 championship games this season under Ivic, are currently in the playoff places, 4 points off the automatic promotion slot. He signed a 1-year deal in August, taking over from Nigel Pearson, who was sacked just before the club were relegated from the Premier League. It means Watford were looking for a 5th manager in just over a year. Now, yesterday, they appointed 34-year-old Spaniard Isco Muniz as their new, I think, on a 1-year deal. He'll be out before February, I suppose.
They must try for this new manager lift. They've got this theory that this new manager lift, if they do it often enough, it'll work and they'll be up.
Now, the Premier League has said it hopes to start permanent concussion substitution trials from January. It follows football's lawmakers, the International Football Association Board, approving trials for 2021. The new rule means that permanent substitutions can be made if a player suffers a head injury, even if all the other replacements have already been used. Opponents can sub at the same time to make it fair.
Stop, well, I think Keith's just suffered concussion.
He thinks it's a pantomime, Dave. He's doing these costume changes every act.
Oh, no, he isn't.
Oh, yes, he is.
Oh, yes, he is.
Yes.
How would you know if Keith had got concussion?
You start talking sense.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
It's a long way to reach to give him concussion, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Just before, Lol, just before you move on, Dave, are you going to be playing an instrument while we're singing?
Me, no. No.
You've got that guitar casually parked by your side.
Yeah, it's just a prop.
Yeah.
Mystery musician.
Pardon?
Mystery musician must be.
Come on then.
Manchester City defender, 29-year-old right back Lucy Bronze, won the Best Women's Player award at the FIFA's 2020 awards ceremony. She is the first English player to win this prize. Bayern Munich's Robert Lewandowski won the Best Men's Player award for the first time, ahead of previous winners Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp, he won the Best Men's Coach ahead of Marcelo Bielsa and Hansi Flick. Spurs' Son Heung-min won the Best Goal award, called the Puskas Award, for his goal against Burnley last year, where he dribbled past about 25 people, I think, before he scored.
He was lost.
Did you see where Lewandowski scored something like 55 goals in 40-something matches?
That's right, yep. Now, Chesterfield, they've had 3 games called off and the club placed in full isolation after positive tests for coronavirus were returned by the National League side. The club said in a statement, it will not be possible to train, to play, or associate with anybody else until the club emerges from isolation on the 30th of December. So the games affected are tonight away to Dover, Boxing Day away to Solihull Moors, and next Monday at home to Kings Lynn Town. The Spirates' next game will now be at home to Solihull on the 2nd of January.
They'd never have got to Dover, would they?
Living in a lorry queue, wouldn't they? The death was announced yesterday of former Manchester United player John Fitzpatrick at the age of 74. He was the Red Devils' first ever substitute when he replaced Dennis Law in a night match in 1965. Due to repeated knee injuries, he was forced to retire at the age of 26 after making 147 appearances for the club. Now, in scoring on his Premier League debut for United against Brighton, Jayden Bogle became only the 5th player in Blades history to achieve such a feat. He follows in the footsteps of Brian Deane, who scored the first ever Premier League goal, Willie Faulkner, Rob Hulse and Billy Sharp.
Can I just qualify that, Lol? Premier League debut.
Ooh.
Yeah.
No.
Premier League debut, yeah.
Yeah, Premier League debut.
It's a Premier League debut, I thought.
Yeah, because Tony Curry scored on his debut, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
But that wasn't Premier League, though, was it?
No.
That wasn't Premier
Yeah,
League.
me too. Great game.
It's first division. It's
First division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
top league.
Mm.
Yeah.
A little bit about Wednesday now. Now, the PFA have written to Sheffield Wednesday owner Chancery for clarity over when the club's players will receive their outstanding wages. November's salaries were capped at £7,000 by Chancery because of the Ties' ongoing cash flow issues. The Owls players called in the PFA last week to try and resolve the problem, where there is a growing concern about the situation after they only received a percentage of their November salaries.
That's all they deserve.
Can't run a club like that.
I thought he was a multi-millionaire, this guy, and he can't afford to pay wages.
He is. He's a billionaire. But he can't. This is the problem. They can't put money into the club. They'll breach fair play rules, won't they?
Mm.
Never stopped
If
them
they
before.
put any money into the club, they'll breach fair play rules, which is stupid during the COVID pandemic. But
yeah, if they're getting no income, how can they apply the fair play?
Yeah,
but how's everybody else coping?
They're not. There's a lot in the same boat, but they're not as high profile as Sheffield Wednesday.
Not as massive.
Thank you.
Not
The
as
trouble with
huge.
Wednesday, it's the second
Huge.
time it's happened.
Yeah.
Just a little stat to finish off on, just one stat.
Yep.
The most fouled player in the Premier League is Jack Grealish.
Get away.
6 fouls
Get
against-
away. Never.
That was never a penalty. That was never a penalty. at
And the
weekend.
second most fouled player,
No way
Sadio
was that a
Mane, on
penalty.
36.
Right. That's it
Better
then.
Thank you, Lol.
So we'll be back
See you
in
next-
five
see you in 10
minutes with a special
Okay,
guest
bye-bye.
or two.